I feel like I live in a world made of podcasts, always taking constant care not to make content of something, to make content of someone, never allowing myself to lose control even for a moment, or someone could die. But you can take it, can't you, big man? What we have here is a rare opportunity for me to cut loose and show you just how much I can really yap on this week's episode of Cartoon Buffoons.
I hate you.
I'm your host, Wyatt, and who is here with me today, as always?
What's up, everybody? It's me, Morgan. I'm the new intern working with the three girls from Totally Spies. I just get coffee.
Yeah. And then who is our very special guest for today's episode, back from the original Justice League episode?
Well, the great and glorious Cartoon Buffoons. What, you run out of bad Christmas specials? You got a hornet on my turf?
And we are here. And, well, introduce yourself.
It's me, Rexy. I'm back again. I brought bits. I brought bits for everyone. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, hell yeah. We are here to talk about Justice League Unlimited. Did this need to be a separate episode?
Yes.
Probably not. But we're doing it anyway, baby.
No. Listen, Justice League Unlimited, Justice League, they are two different shows. They're like the two pieces of bread on a sandwich. They go together, but they're definitely different things.
What a weird analogy. The two pieces of bread are so one unit. What are you talking about?
They're different. There is a difference between the top piece of bread and the bottom piece of bread.
No, there's not. Flip the fucking sandwich. What are you talking about?
You're crazy.
Hold on. Well, sometimes when you have the end piece of like a loaf of bread, you know, like you want to use that as the top of the sandwich.
We're not talking about that redheaded stepchild of a piece of bread. I don't want to talk about the end.
Hold on. When you're a single guy in an apartment, you are using that top piece of bread every single time because you need to save some. You don't want to get more bread, just make one sandwich.
I throw it away like the bourgeoisie. I'm like, I don't want you.
Fucking Marie Antoinette. You know, just throwing it away.
Let them eat bread, and I throw away the little end piece, and that's how they execute me.
Yep.
So.
Use a bread knife.
But I agree. I think not only is this show different from the original Justice League, it's better than the original one. But
not even close.
We will get into it more as we are talking. Rexy, since you're our guest, I mean, I guess we already went over your history with the Justice League, but that was like months ago. So tell us about your history with this show specifically and like, you know, your experience with it now.
Yes, this was actually the first DCAU show I ever saw. I just caught an episode randomly on like Toonami, I think it was. And I was very confused, but I was also very intrigued.
Yeah.
Because it was a style I hadn't seen before. I'd never seen superhero stuff outside of Teen Titans on TV. So I was like, hey, this is different and this is cool. So I ended up checking out the rest of it. And over the years, I've gone back and revisited it like 100 times because it is a very breezy, easy show to get through. Mm-hmm. And I think if it's not my favorite show of all time, it's in the argument.
Yeah, that's a good, I'm glad I have you on then. That's
Oh yeah. I could yap about this show for hours. I'll keep it to not all of that, but
yeah.
I make no such promises. Such promises.
Yeah.
There's a director's cut of this episode out there somewhere where Morgan and I just like go on for hours listing every single character in the DCAU by how dykey they are.
Yeah. It is funny that
Number 1, Jimmy Olsen.
I'll be very interested to see how long this episode was because we just did the Teen Titans one and that was like 2 hours long. Mm-hmm.
It was mostly going like, man, this show has so much potential. Too bad it sucks.
Yeah.
2 hours to talk about how good it is.
Yeah.
You had to spend 30 minutes on the racism episode alone.
That's true.
Wait, I think we did. I think we actually did.
We literally did do that.
Man, that's so funny.
But you know, stay tuned for that. I mean, I guess if you're listening to this, that's already out, actually. But just at the time of recording this, I haven't released it yet. But Morgan, what's your experience with Justice
My
League
experience of Justice League Unlimited is that Justice League Unlimited is so there's a lot of cartoons that made me realize, oh man, I love animation. I love all this stuff about animation. Yada 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 yada. Justice League Unlimited is, without a shadow of the doubt, the reason I love cartoons. This is the cartoon that made me go, man, this shit's fucking real, dude. Like, this is real, man. It's why I like comic books. It's why I like superheroes. It's all of it. Like, everything, like, comes back to this.
Yeah.
I remember vividly watching it, not just by myself, but also like with my mom, and with my siblings, and like talking about it. I remember some of the first things I ever drew was like the Flash and like the way Bruce Timm draws feet and bodies in this show. Like, this show is, I can't even begin to express how much of a cultural and artistic like jumping off point this show is for me. It is like, there's probably cartoons I like more technically, right?
Yeah.
But I think impact on me as a person and as a creative, nothing's topping this show. Probably.
Yeah. I can see that. So this definitely feels like this is the, like, for both of you, this is your Beast Wars.
Yeah.
To me, like as far as like the impact that show had
but I
on
know
me.
where you're coming from. Yeah.
Because unfortunately, I never really watched this. Like, I watched it sometimes, just like the original, but it was definitely, if I had to pick, on Saturdays, that was one of the days of the week that I could play video games and like stay up later. So I would just play Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, whenever Justice League Unlimited came out, I would switch over to that, and then like, oh, Yu Yu Hakusho's on next, and then switch back over to that and watch, Kurama fighting that bomb guy, whatever his name is, and be like, oh,
with the bomb plants.
Yeah.
You didn't have time for Superman. You were just concerned about Superman.
Yeah. I actually did not play Tony Hawk 1 until fairly recently, but 2, 3, 4, Underground, and Underground 2, I played the absolute hell out of. And they're very much like, they're all in that. Man, you know what's a good system? The PlayStation 2, everybody. Let's all celebrate.
All right.
The
Welcome to
PlayStation 2.
Cartoon Buffoons, where we talk about the Tony Hawk series.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Please.
But let's talk about that
Don't get this
instead.
gamer started.
But anyway, coming back to it though, like, I think the reason I like this show like a little bit more than the initial Justice League is that I think the structure is just better. And I think I just like single episode stories more than like multi-part stories, even though there are multi-part stories, and technically the show has like one storyline across the first 2 seasons, and then it's like Ben 10 Alien Force. I'm sorry for bringing that up, but like the first 2 seasons are about the hybrid, and then the 3rd season they're like, Vilgax, he's back, and then and it's much worse.
Unlimited,
than
they definitely had a thing where like they were intending season 2 to be the finale, but then they got renewed for another one. So they're like, fuck it, we got something we can do, right?
Yeah,
So they did.
So like,
But
I
you can
think
definitely tell the shift.
it's so funny that like I think a thing we complain about a lot in the first Justice League episode, like even though we like the show across the board, is that the show has deep pacing issues at times. This show
Not all of
doesn't
those
at all.
episodes.
This show is like, nah, dude, no pacing issues here. We don't need 2 episodes. That's ridiculous. You about to get the cleanest 22 minutes of your entire fucking life.
Yes.
And it's crazy it does it consistently.
Even the episodes that lead into other episodes, you can watch them as a standalone and get a full story. It's great.
Yeah.
There were so many episodes of the first season that did not need to be 2-parters.
Yeah.
And that is just not a problem that ever shows up in this one.
Yeah, and the show, like, I mean, not to just get into, like, recapping every single episode, but, like...
I could do that.
From episode 2, I was like, holy shit, this is good. Because For the Man Who Has Everything, which I'm fairly certain is, like, based on a comic. Like, I remember hearing the storyline.
Specifically, its claim to fame is that it's the one adaptation of Alan Moore's work that he's ever been okay with his name appearing in the credits for.
That's good. Because
and it's also,
I do like Alan Moore.
I think maybe the only episode of the show that's a direct adaptation of a specific comic storyline.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things I like about this show. Like, it usually does its own thing. It's not afraid to change up the status quo from the comics.
Yeah, I think the other ones, like, they'll have references or names based on, you know, comics or storylines and things like that, but they're like, this feels like it is just a, you know, an issue story, and like it is within 22 minutes they're able to like establish such a great like setup and then like tear your heart out. I would say with this episode, what's more sad than like Superman saying goodbye to his son is afterwards how angry he is.
Scene.
Yeah,
that too.
That too. The fact that Bruce Wayne's like greatest dream is just to see his dad beat the fuck out of the guy who killed him is like
that's not very progressive of you, Bruce.
Yeah.
That dude might be on hard times. You want to see your billionaire dad beat him up?
That dude's on food stamps, and you've been punching him for the past 4 hours.
No, how long he spends punching that guy is crazy. I'm like, Bruce, relax.
Yeah. But just the way that ends, where for him it's like it turns from that power fantasy into like, oh yeah, and then he gets killed anyway. As he's waking up from the illusion is just like that. Yeah, very sad. But yeah, just him.
He has issues.
One great thing about that episode, I think, in adapting it from the comic. In the comic, it's not just Wonder Woman and Batman who go visit him, it's also Jason Todd Robin. Mm-hmm. And Wonder Woman, unfortunately, doesn't get a whole lot to do in the comic. Like, she does fight Mongol and get beaten.
Yeah.
But in the comic, Jason Todd is the one who drops the Black Mercy on Mongol. And this one, giving it to Wonder Woman, I think, really adds to her narrative.
Yeah.
I think the thing, and this brings me to like one of the main points I wanted to talk about, is that episode's really good when it talks about like Clark and like how he feels afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the show that gets Superman as like a symbol, but also allows him to be a person that gets angry, sad, or like belligerent. And I think that like so many people, like I think that like Superman's boring thing comes from one, you're a dickhead. Or two, a lot of writers don't know how to make a guy good, but also like fallible, you know? Like Clark is still a person. And there's so many times in the show where Clark is just wrong. And it's my favorite thing because he never stops being just inherently good. Though.
We need to talk about the episode with Captain Marvel.
Oh my god, we absolutely will. Because that's the episode I got in an argument with someone on Twitter about.
Yeah.
That's the episode that'll do that.
Some fucking dick like this. See, look, this cartoon's not political. Look at Superman. He's like this. Yeah, we don't do politics. I said, you picked the episode that's basically called Superman is dumb and wrong for the first time. And use that
politics? There's an episode called Patriot Act.
Yeah.
Shows don't have to be political. Here's a screenshot from maybe the most political cartoon you've ever seen. I think you're really stupid.
I was gonna say the final season 2 finale is like fucking 4 episodes long, and it's just all like, oh yeah, everybody hates the Justice League because they think that they, made a power grab and like blew up a city.
Actual Lex Luthor quote, do you know how much power I'd have to give up to be president?
Yeah.
Not a political show.
Yeah, I love that because I was like, yeah, that is true. It's like, why the fuck would I don't know. It just felt like the writers understood, like they didn't just go to the easy trope of like, I think it would be more politically powerful if he were the president. And then it's like, no. He's a billionaire. He's like fucking Elon Musk right now, controlling this presidency that we're currently suffering through. As of today, as of recording.
Yeah, guys, we're recording this on the dark day, so that's one thing. We're going to say, Rexy?
Well, I'm gonna say something that's like very trite, and you've probably heard like a million times from the most hack writers on Earth. I honestly wouldn't even qualify this as a kids show, technically.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I would say this is a show that kids can enjoy.
No,
absolutely. It's made with them in mind, but
this was a bumper show. This was a show that was like between the transition from Toonami to the later shows. So they agree. This show is like kind of made for it.
This is a show that deals with issues not necessarily that are too dark for kids, but that just might be a bit too complex for them. Because like I remember as a kid bringing up ideas of like corrupt governments and the threat of power versus security, all that stuff. A lot of it did go over my head when I was just a little kid watching this.
Yeah. That being said, the episode where Wonder Woman gets turned into a pig,
pretty
is
good.
one of the best episodes of the whole show.
It is unfortunate that is the best Wonder Woman episode.
Yeah.
It is. That episode. Listen, that episode's so good because one, it is maybe one of the hornier episodes. In a lot of ways.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
also a really good Bruce episode. It's a really fucking good Bruce
good.
episode.
It's so good. I was like watching it. That was when I would message and I was like, man, the show is so good. Like, I was just like watching.
If I can contrast this show to Teen Titans in one specific way, I think this show, neither of them focus much on the characters, their civilian lives or secret identities or anything, but I think this show does a much better job of portraying them as more than just crime fighters.
Yes.
Like, we have an entire episode of Flash just being a normal guy around the city, and it's one of the best in the entire show.
No, it's because this world feels like there's people in it. Teen Titans feels so empty. This show feels real. I just want to go back to
doesn't have civilians.
I do just want to go back to the Wonder Woman episode where I do love, like, whenever an episode's like this, hey, I know everyone thinks, oh, Batman's so smart, he's a strategist, he's a billionaire, he's so cool. I love when an episode goes, I just want to make it clear, Bruce is a fucking freak. What? Yeah, let me call Bawana Beast. Who the fuck is Bawana Beast?
Bruce,
nice.
you shouldn't be hanging out with Bawana Beast. I'm just going to say it.
He's one of my contacts. No, like, what's wrong with you, Bruce? I have issues. A lot of issues. He's like, I love that Bruce like this. Hey guys, I just want to make it aware. I need therapy that hasn't been invented yet. The kind of therapy I need isn't real yet.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna ride
Maybe
this out
50
back
to
house.
60 years from now, I'll get it.
The villain in that episode, Circe, is like so entertaining, so
funny.
yeah.
You can have a good Wonder Woman episode, but only if the villains are kind of fruity with it.
Yeah, and the scene where they go to the River Styx and get Medusa out and are talking to her is so good. Like the way that Medusa talks, like she is like an office lady, like
10 packs a
60
day.
years old. Yeah.
Just like, hey, when you tell her I need my hair curler back, I'm like, oh, we're cooking.
I was like, fuck yes, dude, this is appealing to
outside
me.
the amphitheater, my work.
Yeah. And then just ending it with like, oh, what's the thing that like saves the day and like moves the villain? And
I don't even want to spoil it,
that's
If you're listening to this, I want you to look at that episode for yourself. Do not spoil yourself on it. It's
but I was
great.
like actually getting emotional from like joy and like
Yes.
yeah, I don't know. It was just like what a good episode.
I don't just want to get into like behind the scenes trivia, but there is a good one for that episode where the planned last appearance of the Joker in the entire DCAU was him putting together a plan to humiliate Batman once and for all, then sees Batman carrying around a pig and just throws up his hands and goes home.
Yeah.
And I wish, they cut it for time reasons, I so wish we could have seen that.
I think like when it comes to just like the sense of humor of the show and the voice acting, we'll get to the voice acting later because we always do like a big voice acting thing. But when it comes to the sense of humor, this show has, I think, one of the most interesting senses of humor because this is like the peak. I don't know how to tell this. It's almost like Frasier-ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like this parent silliness that is the comedy of this show.
Yeah.
Where like the jokes come from like it's not quite dry, but it's a little dry, Like it's like the perfect balance of like a kid will be laughing at this stuff, but also your mom will walk past and also get a chuckle out of the humor in the show.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I don't think any other show tries to hit this humor for a cartoon.
Honestly, this is the thing. Going back to how I feel like this is kind of almost what I want adult cartoons to be like when they're not sitcoms,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's my problem with, and this is why I tend to be more, like, pay more attention to shows named a younger demographic for kids, is because it's so much less creative, the humor and like the settings and everything for adult cartoons. It's gotten a lot better now in the past couple of years, especially because kids animation is like cratering into the fucking middle of the earth as we speak. So we have like all of that stuff that was being made for Cartoon Network is having to now be made for Adult Swim. So there's some good stuff that's coming out that's like very innovative and creative and everything. But for a while it was just like, okay, you either have like Castlevania or Family Guy are sort of the two modes that we're in, and it's like this doesn't quite fit into that Castlevania mold because that's like super violent, super like graphic, and
And
they
it's
talk
dog
about
shit.
fucking a goat or whatever, and it doesn't fit into like the sitcom bubble because it is still heightened. It's still like action packed and everything, and it involves like these like larger than life figures.
And
But,
the closest we've gotten recently, I think, is ironically another DC show with Batman: The Caped Crusader.
Yeah, I agree. I
I
definitely
want
think
to check
that's...
out at some point. So
Yeah,
pretty good.
I think like
I mean, the
Besides
penguin
as a
in it. I mean,
like-
I don't know.
all right,
Yeah.
down, everybody down. I'm getting the hose. Let's relax. But yeah, I think like this show is somehow lighter toned than the first Justice League show, but also
I can
has
see it.
more serious episodes sometimes.
Yeah.
I truly think that the first Justice League show needed to come out and be like a B minus, so this show could be an A. They needed to find all their footing and stuff like this. I could see why they wanted to do a whole new show.
It needed to walk so Justice League Unlimited could run around the world 100 times in a second. And
Exactly.
that's what
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
for.
I guess I do want to go into voice cast because
Yes.
this show has a fucking insane voice cast,
It
top
is
to
stacked
fucking
to the
bottom.
gills.
Yeah.
So we got all are returning. We got like George Newbern is back as Superman. We got Kevin Conroy, Susan Eisburn, Phil Lamar, Michael Rosenbaum, Maria Kennels, and Carl Lumbly. They're all back. They're all doing their roles again. I'd say some of them are actually better than they were in the first
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they get the characters on a level. Like, I think Michael Rosenbaum, fantastic in the first Justice League show. He is killing it as Wally in this. He is, like, fully understanding what he is going for. But then
think-
Go ahead.
Oh, good. Well, I was going to say, I think we can see most clearly is with Newbern. Because in Justice League, he was taking over for Tim Daly, and, he was still kind of finding his footing with that. In this one, there are scenes where just, goddamn, he kills it.
Yeah,
Like
he's
in
like...
the scene where he's talking to his imaginary son about how he doesn't think he's real. Fucking killer.
Yeah, I can see why he's just Superman for everything now, right now.
Yep.
Like, it also brings me to, I just want to bring up a fun little point I want to bring up, is that he is Superman in this and a bunch of other cartoons, right? He's also Sephiroth in Crisis Core and Advent Children.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the what's the name of the guy from
I know where you're going with this.
Lois and Clark? No,
Tyler Hoechlin, I think?
but Tyler Hoechlin is Sephiroth in the remake, and he's also Superman in that.
Yeah.
What's the Superman Sephiroth connections? What's
We need to
going
get
on?
Lance Bass as Superman. Really fill it out.
But then we get like the other supporting cast in the show, and they get actors on actors on actors for this, dude.
Yeah. Like Jeffrey Combs says fucking.
I was going to say the most obvious
Yeah.
one. Goddamn.
That's the question. Sorry.
It's like he only works for that specific version of the question, but he's so good at it.
Yeah.
I think Jeffrey Combs might just be like the actor of all times. You
could
give him
make the
anything,
argument.
you give him anything, he's killing it. He's like, yeah, I'm about to rip this shit. Not just that, we also have. I'm gonna start with a bad actor. We have Jeremy Piven as Elongated Man. That works. It works. I don't know how.
It is fortunate that he's only in like a couple episodes.
Yeah, we have J.K. Simmons as General Wade.
Oh my god, he plays Eiling and Mantis. It's so good.
Yeah,
He
fucking
has the best line delivery in the show. Sorry.
Michael Ironside is Darkseid. Oh, that's always still a good one. Gina Torres is Vixen.
Amazing. Nathan Fillion is Vigilante. Really
Yes,
good.
fantastic as Vigilante, dude.
Oh, fucking,
It's-
Robert Englund as Faust. He's in like one episode, and it's
Yeah.
not very good, but he's great in it.
Yeah.
We also get like the episode where everyone gets turned into kids. They get like motherfucking Dakota Fanning to be young Wonder Woman, and she's doing a great job.
Oh, I was shocked by how good all the kid actors were in that one.
Yeah, they got some good fucking kid. Like, I can just keep going. I won't, but like, I can just keep going. They get the casting in the show is fantastic, and everybody comes in swinging.
Yeah.
Like, I never feel like anyone couldn't hang in the show, so it just felt nice.
I'll
And
say
in my
this.
opinion,
Oh, go ahead.
the MVP of the entire voice cast for Just League Unlimited, Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
goddamn,
yeah.
not only is this an all-time great Lex Luthor performance, he has an episode where he has to pretend to be another actor playing another character.
And he kills
and he
it.
crushes
kills
it. He's
Like-
so fucking funny.
Like Michael Rosenbaum pretending to be Clancy Brown, he does a good job, as good as you can do. Clancy Brown's I kind of, but Clancy Brown pretending to be Michael Rosenbaum, dude, I go, what the fuck is happening? This
Me,
sounds like
the
him.
Flash,
How's he
you
performing like this?
totally lost it, Grodd.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, it's so good. But I was just gonna say that this is a very minor issue, and it depends, I guess, on the show, but especially if it's a show where it's primarily adults or like older characters, and there are like some kid characters. I just hate it when they just don't get child actors to do. Like, I know the industry is not kind to child actors or of any kind, but it makes my skin crawl sometimes to hear like an adult woman like pitching her voice up to like play like a little girl or a boy. It's like, it just doesn't.
The Tara Strong effect, yeah.
I was gonna say she's in an episode or two of this doing that, and it's like, I don't like that, but at least it's brief.
Yeah.
It's a bummer because, like when they get the kids, like all the kids that they have be Young Justice League, and also Billy Batson, all great kid actors, doing a fantastic job. Also found this out. I don't know how to say anywhere to put this. I just tell Rexy this. You remember Juice, Rexy?
I think I know where you're going with this.
Did not know his voice by a black woman. You're a stud now, Juice. Welcome.
Yeah,
you are a
CCH
stud.
Pounder filling in for like 3 or 2 grunts and a laugh.
Yeah, but you are now a stud. Welcome. Shaking his hand.
Yeah.
He am lesbian in the hood. But yeah.
God bless.
That's like, it's so nice. And whenever this show also like proves a point I've thought forever, which is the key format for superhero media, if you want to do a team show, is anthology series.
Yes.
I don't want to argue. You can argue with the wall,
Yes.
baby. I've been saying this forever. When someone told me that the What If Marvel show isn't an anthology, I got so mad I started breaking shit around my house.
Which is insane.
Wait,
it's built
what?
to be that.
No, Wyatt, it's not an anthology.
You think it's going to be, but then they all come together at the end as a big crossover. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
And then
Yeah.
season 2 is like more just straight crossover episode after episode of following the same characters. I'm like, are you all stupid?
Yeah, it's
I miss when movie makers assumed the audience wouldn't understand the concept of a multiverse.
Me too.
Yeah,
But-
that's
Like, and here's the thing, going back to what you said about being an anthology show, I think that brings up an interesting theory I've had about this show for years. So, like, most of the DCAU shows are named after the main character. You know, Batman, Static, Superman, Zeta.
Yeah.
But Justice League Unlimited, I think, is interesting because it doesn't have a specific main character. Mostly. I think for the first 2 seasons, it kind of bounces around. Guys like Green Arrow or Question or Huntress, I think they all fill main protagonist roles to a degree, which is good because we already got Batman, Superman, and the rest in their own show earlier. But season 3, I think the main character of Justice League Unlimited is Lex Luthor.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
He
Yeah.
goes through the most development. He drives the plot forward the most. He gets the best episodes. I think it's kind of cool that he's the character they focus on for the end of the series.
Yeah.
and I mean,
It's just great.
season 2 finale. It's
Oh, we're gonna have to talk about this.
yeah. It's like, first of all,
boy.
I fucking love this version of Brainiac, the one from the Superman animated series and everything. I think that it's like, I don't know. I'm not a comic fan, as I've talked about, so I don't really know anything about the other. But like, I remember just like from being a kid and even like rewatching the show as an adult, and then of course getting to this, it's just like I just have like an affinity for those kind of like rogue AI that are like, all right, now I shall destroy everything except for myself, so I'm the perfect life form. You know, like those kind of storylines I just really enjoy.
Wyatt, this show has murdered the concept of alien Brainiac. I'm not kidding. This show has murdered the concept of alien Brainiac for so many people. Look,
like-
I like if there's like a breed, a race of like super intelligent alien robot hybrid guys, right? But they're never going to be as cool as this Brainiac, so I don't care actually.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
They never have the thematic connection of being literally attached to Superman and the destruction of Krypton. Which is why My Adventures of Superman is so good, because they went that route.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, this is great. Let's just do this.
And Corey Burton is just like,
Oh my God.
is so good. He's so fucking good. Especially because like he's done 2 different like cold calculating robot guys, and they have wildly different voices. Like Brainiac and
Yes.
Shockwave
Exactly.
sound nothing like each other.
You were not
He's
mistaken
so
for
good.
each other.
The thing is,
And
though,
speaking of the good voice acting,
Yeah.
the part where he and Lex are fused together and their voices are overlapping, You wouldn't think Clancy Brown and Corey Burton have complimentary voices, but they make it work so well.
Unironically, I'd pay money to hear them two just talk to each other. Just let me hear those two talk to each other for an hour, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. They're so good. They work so well. It's my favorite gay relationship. They are so weirdly horny for each other.
It's not even subtext.
The entire time.
Yeah.
When he thinks he's resurrecting Brainiac, his words are, "Brainiac, I'm coming." That's a direct quote from Lex in the show.
Yeah.
Same delivery and everything.
That whole episode,
Put that away.
I was very much enjoying it because it was like Frieza or something, where he he becomes more monstrous and then he perfects his final form.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, dude.
Now, for years, people have been calling that Brain Thor or something. But when I was a kid, my friend saw it and was like, "Oh, it's Luniac," and I can't call him anything else now.
Luniac.
Unironically though, that episode, I don't think I've ever felt so much for an episode of TV the way those episodes go out. Literally, I'm gonna spoil it because you should know this. Everyone should know this. Whatever, he's yeah, run away, Flash. You're so unintelligent. And Flash circles the planet, hits him I got the feeling I got when Goku was Super Saiyan for the first time against Frieza. It was that level of let's go.
Remember last time where I was like, isn't the Flash supposed to be fast? He just seems like he's kind of running, he's a kind of fast guy. And then seeing that, I was like, here we go, this baby.
Dude, listen, this show does not care about power scaling, which it shouldn't. But it does such a good job of going, hey, just so you know, Wally's being kind to everyone on planet Earth, that he's not doing shit like this all the time. Runs around and smack. When he's ripping apart the suit that Lex has on and just leaves him in a crater, I'm like, this is peak, you know?
Yeah.
This is peak.
So
I'm so happy. And go ahead.
There's also a part of that episode, spoilers I guess, but yeah, you should all already know this, where he disappears from the Speed Force and they think they found him and they're all making a chain to grab him. And this is Superman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, they all have super strength. And at the very back, Batman's holding on, who has no super strength. This is a guy who's been insulting and mean and dismissive of Wally for most of the show.
Yeah.
And him just putting his all. It's just, this show gets all these characters
so much.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Shiera screaming Wally and not Flash, just telling Wally because that's her best friend to get it together.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
this
her
this is the emotion that Teen Titans never could get out of me.
Yeah.
You know, because they didn't feel like friends. No one used their real name. No one thought about them as people, dude. Whenever they try to get those emotions out of me, I'm like, it doesn't hit because this is still, you're calling this nigga Cyborg.
Yeah. This is what we were talking about with
maybe you're
4.
contributing to his identity issues. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden Robin and Raven are really close and we're like, what the fuck?
Where the fuck did this come from? Yeah.
They had one part in one episode where it's here, I'll help you get Slade out of your mind. I guess we're besties now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You get to see Shiera and Wally hang out so much. You get to see them grow to be there's even a point where he stops hitting on her because he's like, that's just my big sister. I can't really hit on my big sister anymore. It's such a good episode. It's such a good way for the League to also come back together with Shiera be we have to save Wally because Wally just saved the world. There was no one else who could have did that, and he did it. And I'm like, this is my Flash, you know? I know the discourse, Barry Allen or Wally West. It's not close. It's Wally the fucking West. I don't want to hear shit from that Republican ever again.
It's specifically this Wally because I read some Wally West comics. They're these are good. I kind of wish it was Justice League Unlimited Wally.
Yeah, this is such a formative and this is what people see in their brain when they see the Flash is the work they did in this show.
It's there's a reason every adaptation of Barry has to draw from Wally West. Oh my god.
I guess before we get into the silly all the extra members and stuff like that because I do want to talk about them. I think I said this I talked about this last time. I won't bring it up again here. I'll start with Wyatt. Who is your favorite of the core 7 Leaguers? Is it still Martian Manhunter? I think you said Martian Manhunter last time. Is it still Martian Manhunter?
I would say it's still him. Just for the same reasons that I mentioned before, where it's I just think that his character and his place in the team is very interesting. But I've gained, like I said with the Flash, I gained a lot of appreciation for him. I will say I'm still kind of underwhelmed by Green Lantern, unfortunately.
As you should be.
And the fucking... I was so mad in that season 2 finale when they're all fighting like their own doppelgangers and they are just shooting lasers at each other. I'm like, you're fucking Green Lanterns!
The two stupidest Green Lanterns in history are fighting each other.
Yeah, at least make a giant fist or something and hit each other with it. Like, what the fuck is this?
Martian Manhunter's arc is really good this season. Where he
oh yeah,
wants to him going, I want to define myself as more than just a superhero, because he doesn't really have a civilian identity. I think that's such a neat thing to do for him. And wait, I'm trying to remember it correctly. Isn't he like on the Great Wall of China with his wife?
Yes.
Yes.
It turns out this entire time he's been traveling the world. He meets this old Chinese lady. They get married. He's living a whole life, and he comes back to help the Justice League.
I think... Also, I love that he kisses his wife, then turns to Martian Manhunter and punches out this thing. That means she knew. That means he was real with her from the... What a fantastic... John Jones, please retire. Go back to China. You know, teach me Mandarin and enjoy your wife. I love you.
Live a wonderful, happy life. You deserve it.
What about you, Rexy? Of the core 7, who's your favorite?
My favorite is still the Flash for the same reasons. You know, funny, charismatic, slick design, awesome power. And then, of course, in this series, we get to see what he's really capable of. Mm-hmm. I think here's the thing. Comics have always had trouble towing the line of, like, how can Flash even be beaten if he's so fast? I think this show does it well because they directly establish that him going at that speed is either A, really dangerous for the people around him, or B, something he just can't do very often.
Yeah.
I think it's a good compromise.
Like, they give him, like, the Superman balance, and I'm a big fan of that across the board.
Yeah. How about you?
Mine's is, and it's crazy to say this, Hawkgirl rules, man. Shiera has some good moments in the first series, and I like them a lot, but in this, she gets to be, like, a full realized character. In a way I don't think Hawkgirl has really been since.
Yeah.
They give her a good hook with dealing with the fallout of the Thanagarian invasion.
Like her relationship with I think the thing is that she's like, how can I put this? She has such strong I'm only friends with idiots because they're, you know, I got to take care of them. Anytime she's in an episode with Wally, I love it. Her trying to help Wally flirt with this very sexy Brazilian woman is one of my favorite parts of the show. Wally, just go talk to her. I can't. She's sexy. What do you mean you can't? She's sexy. It's like, he's like, no. And like, he's like all nervous. Or her with fucking Solomon Grundy. It's just...
Oh, God. You want to talk about heartbreaking episodes.
Yeah. Or her with... Or like, even the things... I think she's as interesting as Jon Stewart is boring. And I think that's why they work so much as a couple in my head when they're on and off again. Yeah. Like, for some reason, Jon Stewart loves fumbling the baddest bitches on Earth. But, like...
He's addicted to it.
He's addicted to it,
It's his Jungkook.
But yeah, she's so great. I love her thing. I think Diana doesn't get enough in this show. I think everyone can agree on that. However,
it has unfortunately always been kind of the weak point of the DCAU Justice League.
However, I will say one of my favorite moments from her was, and she doesn't even talk in the moment, but I think it's hilarious, is when all the like women superheroes get kidnapped to go, okay, who do we have to fight less? There's 4 of us against 1 person. And Diana shows up and they all go, oh my God, come on. And they're just getting their asses kicked for 14 minutes, just like, please, someone unmind control her. And she's
the most lesbian episode of the show.
Yeah.
It's super gay. It's such a good one. But like, yeah, Shiera's just like, God, I'm glad she's in the new James Gunn stuff. Hopefully, she has a full character in the deal.
Yeah.
Crossing my fingers. The thing about Hawkgirl is, you're right, she has some really great moments. I think it's unfortunate that she's also the main focus of 2 of the worst episodes of the show.
I agree. That's not her fault. That's Hawkman's fault. Not her fault.
Hawkman ruins everything.
We're going to say
Get that Republican out of here.
I was just going to say that as far as, like... side characters or characters that aren't among the main crew, like The Question, I think, was the one that I ended up enjoying the most, just because, like, I like that kind of crack. I miss when insane conspiracy theorists were, like, funny or cool instead of racist, you know?
Yes,
like,
me too.
Yeah.
Like, they used to be like, oh yes, the government's putting food in putting stuff in our microwavable food. Now it's like this. Secretly, all black people come from. Whoa. What
yeah.
What
it's just like the Talmudic Jews control. You know, like, well, all right, hold on. Let's not
take a step back. Like, No, I don't know.
No,
It's
you
I
idiots.
think
The lizard people live in an underground fantasy kingdom. They're not Jews.
Yeah,
the thing
that's
that
what I
gets me,
want. I want to. That's what I want to believe is that their lizard people has nothing to do with the Illuminati or the Jews. So,
what happened is that I think now conspiracy theorists have conspiracies about the government, right? But they think politicians and the president will save them, which creates the most racist person on earth. We're like this,
Yes.
I have all these conspiracy theories, but I think Donald Trump is a good. Like, you can't have a conspiracy theory against the government and then love the president. That's not how this works. Like,
and I like that. I mean, in this one, there is government conspiracy, so it is like, he's
right.
not just like a crackpot that's completely wrong. You know, he's just like, he's asking the hard questions or whatever. Like, maybe some of the things are a stretch, but like, they are creating like, you know, a task force of people to like monitor and like, you know, take
They're
out the
making
Justice League and
friends.
do all that stuff. And then there's a fucking Suicide Squad episode, which I did not expect.
oh, it's so
Oh
good.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Really good.
But like, I like the thing before we go to the thing I like about the question so much is that he is yet again proving the point I made earlier, where Batman is the freak. Because we're gonna go like this. Yes, Batman. Who do you want to have on the team? I want to have Green Arrow, the super liberal who hates us. Yes, and Huntress. Huntress? Does she kill people? It doesn't matter. And the question, what the fuck are you talking about, Bruce? Nah, these are my people.
I love Batman's actual quote. I know he's wound a little tight.
Yeah.
When Batman is calling you paranoid, it's like, oh man, you're a great character.
Dude, also
Yeah.
Jeffrey Combs' performance of like him in the taxi, like, oh yeah, play that pop music. And him just like running his finger down the scanner and just like how can I hack into this? Gets a potted plant and breaks the window. He's the funniest character in this show, and it's
so
not
good.
close.
Yeah.
Oh man, if I had to pick a side character, it would be hard to beat the question, but honestly, I think it's tied for Green Arrow and Vixen.
Wait, before we get to those, what are you gonna say about the Suicide Squad episode? White, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, well, I was just saying that, like, it was just cool. I just like episodes that are like, oh, we're following a completely different group of. That's why I liked all the like villain team up episodes in the first series, because there was like fucking 3 of them or whatever. So
You get plenty of that in this one.
This show loves to go like, hey, do you want to follow these side characters that you don't know? And Eric goes, yeah, absolutely. Like, the Suicide Squad episode
fully realized.
Suicide Squad episode is so good too because like one, Plastique's there, which is a crazy pull. It's also my favorite version of Deadshot. He is so not evil. Evil's the wrong word. A dick.
yeah,
He's just a dick. I love him in the like elevator, all excited to put together his fucking plastic gun. Like, oh yes, I fucking love guns, baby. And like Plastic's like this. Help us. Sorry, babe. Pow. Blows her up. Like, he's so fucking funny.
He's so sleazy charming in a way you almost forget he's an asshole, and then he does shit like that. You're like,
Exactly.
Oh, right.
I think it's also because there's so many characters in the show that feel like supervillain, like capital SV supervillains, right? He feels like a mercenary in a way that's really good. You know,
Yeah.
like listen, if Bruce paid him enough, he'd be shooting villains too. Like, it's really, really good. But you said Vixen and Green Arrow.
Yes, I think Green Arrow's role in the show is really important. I think the idea of bringing in a non-powered guy who just works small scale, protects people, to keep the Justice League honest, I think that's really good.
yeah,
I think in the multiple parts of the finale where he's calling Justice League out, like, hey, maybe the people actually have a right to be scared of us and we should rethink some things.
Yeah, we should.
So good.
Like,
and he's got a great little theme song.
Yeah, I love that this show that's not political. Where Green Lantern, the big liberal, is like, "Hey guys, maybe we shouldn't have a space laser." What? Yeah, but what if
He
something?
literally
What if an
says,
invasion
I'm an
happens?
old lefty.
yes,
What if
that's what I was
invasion-
gonna. Like, I saw, I was like, whoa! I didn't actually expect them to like have characters of that are explicitly political. Like
My favorite example of that is when Lex and Grodd are fighting, and Lex calls him a half-baked objectivist.
Dude, it's so funny. Can I just say, I
Sir,
love the plot.
he is a gorilla from the zoo.
I love the heroes. I love all the heroes doing heroic stuff. The amount of smoke that Gorilla Grodd and Lex Luthor have for each other is the funniest thing in this goddamn show.
Legendary.
Like, these niggas hate each other, bro. They be in the street with knives fighting if they could. Two of the greatest minds in the world, if they work together, they would work. But Lex is like this, I'm not working for a stupid monkey. And Grodd's like, did you just call me a monkey? I did. My favorite thing is when he takes Grodd out of his prison cell and puts him in a cage with hay and a banana. And goes, how's that, bitch? And just fucking...
Here's the thing. I think Lex in this universe has to be cishet because otherwise Gorilla Grodd will be calling him every slur possible.
Oh yeah, no, like there's definitely cut scenes where Gorilla Grodd's calling him racial slurs for being black. Like these niggas go so deep into how much they hate each other, and it's funny because they're both nerds. Like it's like the most big worded insults you've ever heard. Well, I guess when it comes to my favorite character, I got my favorite character, but my spouse would kill me. Kathy would kill me if I didn't bring it up.
Kathy, don't listen.
Is so deeply vigilante and Shining Knight pilled. It is so funny. Kathy's like, the Vigilante's the coolest superhero ever. Because, here's the thing, Shining Knight, I'm from the past, you know? I speak Arthurian, Vigilante. Well, you see, I like that moving picture box. I'm actually not from the past. I just like talking like this. And
My 5.1 surround sound.
my favorite like this. Now, listen, Mr. Knight, you better watch how you talk about Mr. Eastwood. I'm like, fuck, he rules. He's so good. But
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say it's very funny that they kick Huntress out of the Justice League for trying to kill a guy. They did hire Vigilante, whose power is owning 2 guns.
All right, look. He's not shoot. Listen, he also has a lasso. He also has a lasso.
Was Batman there for that decision, or was he dealing with Killer Croc? You know,
Batman's like this. Wait, did y'all hire someone that has guns? And it's like, Vigilante hide. Oh, my bad, sir. I gotta get out of here.
No, these are knockout bullets.
Yeah.
I do have to say, my favorite side character, and this was my introduction to him. He doesn't get a lot. This is like what made me go, who the fuck is Booster Gold? This is the shit that made me go, who the fuck is Booster Gold, and why does he rule? This is like what woke it up in me, and he's so funny in this show, and it's such a good jump on. Like, it's such a good jump on to like see Booster Gold's whole deal and everything.
Like, he gets one episode, it's just like the greatest hits of Booster Gold.
Yeah, it's just one episode. It's just him. He's hanging out, and it's so fantastic, and like funny and like well put together. It's amazing.
Yeah.
They really just do give like pretty much every character who gets a speaking line some personality, some fully fleshed out, developed character. It's really impressive.
When we were watching it, there's a newscaster that introduces herself with like a hyphenated name, and me and Kathy went, "Is she married?" Is like, wait, we like this doesn't matter, but like I don't know. This is the kind of show that whenever you meet anybody, you're curious, you know.
And it's really great when they only give a character one episode because it leaves you tantalized. You want more, so you can look up the character.
Yeah, exactly. And like, oh, is there a book I can read? And even if the book might not be as good, you still jumped on and found a character you like. You know.
That's how I learned about Captain Marvel, with the episode that I honestly have no idea how I feel about these days.
We are going to talk about it. We're going to say what?
Sure. I was gonna say, like, I want to talk a little bit about some like things I didn't like about.
Oh, here we go. Yes.
And so I didn't watch every single episode. I just watched like a handful from each of the seasons. But I did end up watching, you know, the final 5 episodes of season 2, just because they all went into each other. The final episode, epilogue, I think is like a pretty good episode, but I just hate the retcon of Terry being like a clone or something of Bruce. Like, that's just so. It just like really annoys me because it like shrinks the universe down and it like makes him becoming Batman so much less.
So
like it takes away all of his agency, basically. You know?
Hold on, Morg the Defender is here.
I am on a cross. The nails are through my palms and through my feet. I will now defend this choice. One, listen. Is it a retcon? Maybe. Because this is the most obviously planned thing in that original show.
It is Terry, because I have a quote from Alan Burnett who was like, I didn't want this to happen. I don't know what they were doing.
Okay.
I'm ignoring you. But also, listen, Terry looks nothing like his mother, nothing like his father. He
Yeah.
looks just like young Bruce. He's always looked like young Bruce. Like, that's the thing. Like, this could be like, oh, we didn't have it planned that way. Nigga, then why'd you design him that way? What? Like, listen, I agree.
He had hair dye.
I think it does shrink the world. I do think it's a bad choice. However, this episode is, I think, pretty well written, though,
Yeah,
as a story
that's what I'm
of the
saying.
pain and curse of Batman. I do
Yeah.
think it does have that in its core. Even though I think Terry being, like, literally his son is lame, right?
Yes.
I do
It's
think
the
getting
best
into...
you could write this story.
Yeah. I think, like... The concept's bad, but it doesn't stop the team of Justice League being good writers, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't stop them from being good writers. They still wrote a good episode of television. I think because the idea that Terry is so different from Bruce throughout the entire Batman Beyond run, right? And, like, he's like, I'm going to tell my girlfriend who I am and all that other stuff. And he still destroys his relationships because that's just kind of what you got to be Batman, is very strong. And I think him at the end of it escaping that curse is fantastic because we know canonically Dick doesn't escape it, Tim doesn't escape it, and Barbara doesn't escape it.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that there's someone that does. I think that works really well. On a more important note, there's a gun in universe that if I stab you with it, you will come somebody else's
magical
semen.
cuck gun.
The cuck
Canvas's
gun
fantastical cuck gun that
The
they
cuck
used on
gun
Terry's dad.
is the funniest piece of sci-fi I've seen in my entire life. You know, like it's the cuck gun and George Lucas naming the music jizz. Those are the two things that are in sci-fi that rule. Because
Yeah.
how does it even work? So I stab you with the gun and your cum becomes someone else's cum? What are you talking
Yeah.
about? It's
Now-
so funny.
Okay, you've given your defense. I would like to give my counter argument. So superheroes already have kind of a nasty reputation they can't quite shake of being a little fashy.
It is very fashy. It is very
And making a literal eugenics episode, I think, did not help that case.
Yeah. I mean, in
Especially
general,
when
I'm
you
not
do it
a
with
fan
Batman. Do you think anyone told Amanda Waller at any point, hey, Batman doesn't have any powers?
Yeah.
no. So I agree with you, right? However, Amanda Waller is framed as wrong in this episode.
But that's the problem. The character herself is framed as wrong, saying, like, it doesn't matter who your dad is, you can still be Batman. But putting that retcon in recontextualizes the entirety of Batman Beyond, so the narrative says, no, it does matter, because Terry only did this because he was connected to Bruce.
I agree.
It alters the narrative in a way you can't really look past, and that's what I hate about these kinds of retcons.
I agree. I just think there's a version of this episode that could have been fixed. I just don't know how. I think, like, even if there's, like, something of, like, Amanda Waller looking up the information about Terry's parents and not using the cuck, but just going, oh, this kid would be great. Let's murder his parents, and see who turns the Batman, and then she changes her mind at the end, right?
Yeah. To-
That's
to
the
me,
most
like,
powerful part of the episode for me. Is her going, let's kill his parents, and she going, this is too much. This is not how you make a hero.
The fact that they brought back the Phantasm for that, actually really good, because Andrea's seeing that she's about to do the exact same thing to Terry that happened to Bruce that tore their relationship apart and just refusing to do it. That's a really powerful moment, I think.
Yeah.
Also, there is one more problem with this episode I have to point out. So we get a little scene where Terry's imagining what's going to happen with him and Dana if he goes through with this. And she drops a whole, we've been dating for 15 years. Dana! Honey! Get away from him! He's ruining your life! Listen, go down to the Ivy Patch. There's a great little lesbian bar in downtown Gotham. You meet a nice girl there, you take her home, have a great time. You do that every day for the rest of your life until you forget him. He's seeing Max on the side. You know he's seeing Max on the side. 15 years?
15 years is
Hello?
crazy.
When did he tell you he was Batman? You're 13? Dana! Girl!
Were we gonna say Wyatt?
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just have this built up in me. I watched all of Batman Beyond, and it was like, Terry, worst boyfriend of the year? Maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
love Batman Beyond. But I'm just saying, like, I think these problems, and this, you know, obviously comic books have, like, a bad reputation of stupid retcons. You know, just recently I was listening to a podcast about the X-Men 97, like, the show that just came out. And they talked about how, like, every single fucking time they have to retcon something that, like, oh yeah, this character actually existed, but Xavier just erased your memory of him, and every single time they do that, they make him seem like more of a monster, and then like that's why the Magneto is right thing is people are like, yeah, maybe maybe he is right, but I think in this case it is just like I can see it from a not just a comic book writer perspective, but just from a writer perspective that sometimes people overwrite their premises and like try to make these connections because they think they're being really clever and tapping into something like thematically important, but it actually just is much less important, like not to fucking Star Wars, not to bring up Star Wars.
You gotta bring up Star Wars.
That's exactly what happened with Rise of Skywalker, where they're like, oh yeah, Rey, the previous movie, I know, guys, please fucking don't talk to me about The Last Jedi, but it was actually a good move in a story perspective to be like, Rey is nobody. She doesn't have any important connection. Her parents, sold her for drinking money, etc. And then the next movie being like, actually, your parents really loved you, and your dad was a clone of Palpatine, and then Palpatine killed them, and then you're Palpatine's granddaughter, and he's back, he's still alive, and you gotta fight him, and it's exactly like Return of the Jedi. It's just like the worst writing decision ever made for a big budget film series, and that just drives me insane. Like that kind of like the people have to draw, like when you have to draw so many connections to, like all these other things because you think you're being clever, but it just like ruins.
Yeah, it just bogs it all down.
Thing. But like you said, I do think otherwise, like the substance, like that part of it isn't good. But
the episode, like the way they did
is still a good episode, and it's still like a pretty good. It makes sense to end. Like if this was the final episode, it would make sense to end it with a Batman-focused story because of Batman the Animated Series was the beginning of this universe. So
they even mirror in the final shot, the first shot of Batman the Animated Series, which I do think is a clever touch.
Now, if we were to talk about bad episodes that are just bad,
oh boy,
can I just say, whoever is a Hawkman shooter, die. I don't know what else to say here.
This motherfucker got two episodes.
He got 2 episodes, and I'm like, oh, surely the second one can't also suck. And it did. And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. If you ask me, is the episode a story that is written with a beginning, middle, and end, and has a structure to it, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. Is the structure particularly bad? No. But Hawkman is, and I'm not kidding here, the least interesting superhero to ever exist.
He's a fundamentally boring character.
He's a Republican. Fucking what's his job again?
He's an archaeologist.
A Republican archaeologist who is stalking a woman he thinks is his soulmate. Fuck off. I don't care.
We get the awesome retcon that he was also the alien who built the pyramids. What?
Oh my god. Shut up. Get him away from me. And the thing is, I can't really blame the show because Hawkman always sucks.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They did Hawkman in Justice League and made him suck in a good way. Mm-hmm. You already had a good take on Hawkman. You don't need to correct course.
No. It is. Hello, it's me, Hawkman. I'm James Remar. And listen, Shire, you have to love me. Why? Because our past selves loved me. But aren't we new people? Fuck me.
There's a bit in the second episode with him where Shadow Thief has captured Hawkgirl, Hawkman, Green Lantern. And he's like, where's Vixen? She's not a part of this. Which really just sums up the way the show treats Vixen.
Yeah. Truly.
But and the reason she's one of my favorites is, like, they treat her so badly. She has so much potential.
The thing that gets me is, I thought, like, they were going to go, like, oh, yeah, at the end, Shire's going to actually pick him because they're destined to be together. But no, they don't. He's just an incel. So I'm like, we do all this and he doesn't get anything? What?
And the worst part is, it never ends up coming to a head. Because, like, the finale of the show has nothing to do with Hawkgirl and Green Lantern's relationship. It's never resolved. The only resolution we ever get on it is years later in a shitty Batman Beyond comic where Shadow Thief kills Vixen so Jon Stewart can get together with Hawkgirl.
I think, personally, if you ask me, Vixen started dating Hawkgirl, and it's awkward now because they're just metamorphs. I think that's what happened in my brain. I guess there's other stuff I want to talk about. But before we go to that, I have to bring up the craziest thing this show does.
Oh yeah.
The second to last episode of this show ever has no superheroes in it.
Yeah.
Has no superheroes in it.
Yeah.
It's an episode where the villains are fighting each other. And it is maybe the funniest episode of television and the most fun I've had with a TV show in my entire life.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Like, even if you don't watch the finale, if you just watch that episode, we talked about earlier, like Grodd and Lex's like beef. We gotta talk about a very important character to the Grodd and Lex beef. Tala is a super sorcerer who's existed for years.
F freak.
Her whole deal is that she loves to fuck power. She wants to fuck the strongest man on earth. That used to be Grodd. Now, I know you might be asking, isn't he a gorilla? He sure is. So
It's
she
not even subtext.
Nope, it's just text. And here's what gets me. And then she's like, oh, Lex took over. I want to fuck Lex. She doesn't know that that man is fruitier than a can full of peaches.
The episode where Flash and Lex switch brains, there's a admittedly kind of questionable bit where she has sex with Flash and Lex's body, but it's an explicit plot point that, like, wow, you've never been this tender and attentive and caring. And when they switch back at the end, and it's Lex and Lex's body again, the final bit of the episode, her going, "Aw,"
like she misses Wallet. No, there's every episode she like grabs on. He's like, "Get off of me, you!" Like he basically says, "Be gone, thought." Like he just keeps pushing her off, and she never stops. Like, listen, Kathy said it best. We were watching like this. How you get rebuffed 3 times in the span of an hour and you keep trying? That girl needs help. He does not want her. He's literally in the room talking to Brainiac and laughing, and she's like this. Why don't you talk to me like that? Cause he's gay, Tala. Cause he's fucking gay. Leave him alone. Like,
Yeah.
and then
Tala, listen, you should just be pursuing your Fujo dreams and letting this happen.
and then it gets worse. So the final episode is Tala basically goes, "I've had enough of this. Grodd, you loved me. We had sex, even though you're not a human." And she releases Grodd. Grodd gets all of his guys together, of half the villains, and Lex gets his. And Lex is like, "Do y'all really want to do this?" And what proceeds is villain on villain fighting that has some of the funniest battles you've ever seen. We got Toy Man versus Killer Frost. We got Bizarro calling Lex father, basically crying as he's getting jumped trying to help Lex. We got Sinestro versus fucking Parasite. And this is like not a well-organized fight. This is like a barroom brawl.
Yeah.
And it is such
This
a
happened
fun
in the
episode.
moment.
Yeah. It's like
And the best part about
Pokemon
Grodd's
the
thing is,
movies.
like, now Grodd is a giant, super strong gorilla with telepathy. How do you think he comes after Lex? He's got a gun, of course.
You know, and look, Lex is like this. Lex is like, "Oh, you fucking objectivist." He's like insulting him. And Grodd's like this. "Well, watch this." And Grodd tries to mind control him, and Lex reflects it back and said, "Well, it took you long enough." Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that eagle of
They
yours.
established early on that part of the reason the secret society doesn't trust Lex is because when he upgraded their powers, he also gave himself the ability to override them. Set up, payoff, boom. Good show.
Yeah. Last thing about this episode, I also think the joke of when we work for Grodd, he wants to turn everybody into gorillas. What do you want to do, Lex? Turn everybody bald? And Lex just glares at the guy that says it and then continues talking. Doesn't even acknowledge it. It's really
The best part is that guy is Sinestro, his second in command, who survives to the end of the show along with him.
Also, Sinestro seems like he's a writer. He seems very loyal to Lex too, which is crazy. Like, look out, Luthor, look out! Like, it's
like when Sinestro first appeared in Superman and showed up in Static Shock, his whole thing was like, "I want to destroy all the Green Lanterns," and now he's just like, "Yeah, where's my paycheck, Baldy?" He becomes the Squidward of the show.
It's just I don't know. This Gorilla Grodd, fantastic. I love an evil gorilla, and they give him even more here than they did in the original show, which he had a good bit, but I just love an evil gorilla. I know you do too, Wyatt. It's just
of course,
You can't go wrong with an evil gorilla.
But do we want to talk about the final episode?
I guess before we talk about the final, I do want to bring up some side stuff.
Okay.
Composer. Christopher Carter, who is one of the composers for this show.
Sure.
And also Lolita Romances. I'm so sorry if I fucked that up because she's Latvian. Who also did a lot of the score work for Batman Beyond. The remix of the Justice League theme that this show opens up on, fan-fucking-tastic.
Top 10 best cartoon themes of all time.
I love the speed of it and like making it go faster and like a little bit more guitar in it. Like, cause like there's like this level of opulence in the original one, right?
Mm-hmm. It's very grandiose. It takes its time.
Yeah, this one definitely brings in that Batman Beyond, like, not party, but like that little flair that like Batman Beyond has, and uses it. infuses it in with this, and the
Yeah.
music behind the scenes for the show, like on all the scenes and like in the opening, fantastic. I found myself just like grooving to these jams constantly. Like it very much is like very action cartoon in a way that feels fantastic. Like
Yeah.
I think if you hear any of this, you can do these like riffs and these like guitar bars in your brain. Like
I need an actual like official soundtrack release for this show because there's some background music in there that is just like, what were they on when they came up with this? I
Yeah.
need it.
true.
I also do want to. Oh, you go.
No, you
ahead,
go first. You go first. Go ahead. You
I was
go.
gonna say, like, we talked about the voice acting before, but for all these shows, Andrea Romano, who is the voice director, I
Yes.
feel like should get a huge shout out because, like, since the beginning, since Batman the Animated Series, it's been like really on point, and then it's just gotten better and better as time goes on. Though I like the old, Bruce Wayne from Batman the Animated Series where he's like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" like that kinda,
Where he sounds
I don't know,
different
he has
from
like
Batman.
just a very funny, corny voice. But like, I feel like at this point, everybody feels like so fucking like 100% into their role, like totally natural, and they talk, and it also feels like this show in general, like we talked about with its tone and that it doesn't really feel like a kid show, and I think a lot of that is because like the dialogue never really feels dumbed down, and they really don't censor themselves very often. There's like a few times they have to, like with the Suicide Squad, but otherwise, like, they kind of just talk, without having to like talk. They don't have to say
They
like, I'm
use the
going to
words
send
kill
you to
and
the
die.
next dimension or whatever, like the Fox.
Yeah, no,
Spider-Man.
we'll just kill you straight up. Yeah.
The one time they do talk about sending someone to another dimension, it's treated as like a very bad thing, and maybe it would have been better if they tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so. I also like when we talk about like direction. We talked about this all the time. He works on a lot of cartoons. The way McDuffie's teleplay work of like converting comic book stories and other stuff written by other people into cartoons, fan fucking tastic. He
what a legend.
also the episodes where he directs or writes them. A lot of times they're Wonder Woman episodes. Like he did Maid of Honor. So very shout out to him for giving us some of the best Wonder Woman episodes. I also think that Andrew Kreisenberg, who was a writer on some of these episodes and also a producer, he later went on to co-create what we know as like the CW Arrowverse stuff, specifically like specifically Flash and
I
Supergirl.
knew I
and Green
recognize that name.
Yeah, like even if you have issues with those, there is like a little bit of this in those,
Yeah.
You can follow
Specifically
one
the
to
Flash.
the other.
Yeah, specifically the Flash. You can see like there's a lot of like touchstones and vibes that come over. So like I think it's neat how many people that like work on this show, be it writing or directing, have just like a hand in the DC universe going forward. I love the fact that Paul Dini just fucking wrote episodes. Like
He wrote the Zatanna episode because he has a huge crush on her, and he wrote some good stuff.
Yeah. I could tell. But I was like, watching that episode. I don't know how to feel about it because I don't know. Yeah, but whatever.
It was good. It was a good episode.
Yes.
I think he gave it his, I don't want to say he brought his A game, but a B+ game.
Yeah. But there's a lot of good comic writer, or maybe not good. There's a lot of comic writers that are also writing. Warren Ellis, Gail Simone in there, just like writing and doing stuff.
The Gail Simone episode, Double Date, is pretty good, except for the fact that it has, and I say this with no exaggeration, and it should shock you when I say this, the most fat-phobic episode of a superhero show I've ever seen. Like, it is kind of unreal.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how evil because he's fat he is a lot of times in that episode. It's
But
that's the thing.
general,
I keep saying like one of my favorite shows of all time. There's plenty to criticize.
Yeah, there's definitely
that's part of why I like it, honestly.
I said someone said before that like the best video game you ever played is a game that's almost perfect but sucks in very specific ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this is my favorite cartoon of all time. Because like if it didn't have those bad Hawkman episodes, I don't think I would like the show as much.
Honestly, yeah.
Because
We're gonna say why
they have the perspective. They give you perspective. You're like,
yeah, exactly.
you understand what's good about it when you see how bad it can be.
You can only know peak if you've seen mid.
You know,
Yeah.
like some shows, there's not a bad episode of blank show. Yeah, but there's also like not a really good episode either. They're all 7, so, which is like a solid show. But like I love a show that's like taking me like 10, 10, 10. Is that a fucking 3? Oh my god, we're back to 10s.
Yeah.
Like that's.
But I need a dud here and there.
But I guess right. We should talk about the last episode.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
boy, yes.
that's a follow up from that episode that we just talked about. And it has Dark Side, and it's sort of, it created the fucking world of cardboard TV tropes. Everybody, let's go and talk about that, which is like where I first, being a guy looking up TV tropes in like 2008, like that's where I first heard of like that speech and everything, and learned about that term. And was like, well, this seems like it's like actually pretty badass. And it is like
it's good in context.
Yes, and it is like like I think that it is a great way to end it. It doesn't feel quite as like satisfying as the season 2 finale, but it is like, I mean, yeah, it is like a grand finale for the whole series and everything.
It gives a nice send off to Lex Luthor, at least.
Yeah, I think what I like about that episode is that it does what I think superhero finales should do, right? I don't need to see how everyone settles down or whatever. I think some stories are good going, and they kept doing what they're doing, right?
Yes.
And that's how this finale feels for me. It feels like they could have made more, but they didn't have to make more. And I think it's so good. And also it's so good because like it gets like, I don't want to say it gets 8.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of comic book stories from DC that try to capture this to this day. Like they are constantly trying to because like I love Lex Luthor, Batman, and Superman fighting Darkseid. It is some of my favorite visuals. It's so good to see. Like this is like the episode where people go, Batman can't do that. Yes, he can because he's fucking Batman. Suck my ass.
Here's the thing. Batman being overpowered and able to do anything is good when it's in the context of a good story.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah. Like, listen, look, should Batman be able to dodge the Omega Beam? Probably not, but I don't care. He's fucking cool. Watching Batman jump around and dodge everything was so sick. It was the coolest thing in the world.
It would be kind of a dog shit Batman story if he just got shot and died.
Yeah. I remember a joke from a podcast talking about Batman and Superman that has like always stuck in my mind, and that is, being like, oh, I don't like Superman because nobody can beat him. Oh, why do you like Batman? He can beat anybody. So
I've been saying for
exactly
years. I've been saying for years that like the complaints people have about Superman are the same things you could put against like Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but like literally, I think about the animation of Batman dodging the Omega Beam, jumping off of a parademon. It hits the parademons, and just the thing is, I like that Bruce also is panting in that scene. He is going the full you've ever seen Batman go, and it's so good. And then I love fucking Clark going, all right, you know what? Thank you for that, BB. I love you, Bruce Wayne. You're my baby. I'm about to knock this motherfucker's block off. It is so cool when he fucking hits Darkseid and the wound goes around everything. Oh, it's so fucking sick.
In my opinion, the best part about all that, and this is spoilers for the finale of Justice League Unlimited, so if you don't want that, too bad. You know what episode you're watching. It doesn't work.
Yes.
No,
He gets beaten by Darkseid.
Yeah.
No, that's what makes it good. What makes it good is that, like, I love to see Superman can't be able to solve all his problems with violence, you know? That's what we need. We need Superman to, like, he can let loose, but he can't solve his problems with letting loose, because that just weakens his ideology, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, and then Lex Luthor's like this, I had to put on my war outfit, and it's a suit.
I had to grab my power suit.
My dad,
so good.
my dad. Fucking, let's go. I'll show you the end of the universe.
Because he hadn't dressed like that since Superman the Animated Series, so that was a really cool callback.
Yeah.
It's such a good episode. It's so solid and it's fun, and it's not as good as the season 2 finale. That's just true. But it's literally like, it feels like, I'm someone who doesn't like event comics. I just don't. I never will, right? But this doesn't feel like an event comic coming in to ruin your favorite book. This feels like an event comic causing everyone to go, wait, we got to stop and deal with this thing in a way that feels natural. It's so good. Darkseid's so good. Also, the voice acting, again, we talked about it. But, like, this episode is so satisfying from top to bottom. And it's such a nice way to send the show off. And the final shot of, so we all helped you save the world. What do you guys get? You get a head start. And all the villains go, oh, God damn it. And they all start running away. It's really good.
Yeah.
I like that it doesn't end with them all settling down. Like you said, it ends with them being like, yeah, we've got more adventures to go on.
Yeah.
I
don't know if this is just a me thing or if you two agree with me, but, like, I kind of hate the, like, endings that are, like, wrapped up so neatly and then, like, cut to the future and it's like, here's them all as a, you know, whatever, like, they're in old age or whatever and they have kids and all that stuff. And I'm like, no, just don't. I understand I'm a Dragon Ball fan and there's, like, 40 different fucking time skips in Dragon Ball, but, like, also Dragon Ball ends with Goku being like, okay, goodbye, family, and then kidnapping an Indian kid and then training him. But just in general, like, I don't know, I like having an ending where you can kind of, like, live in the status quo of the end and having the characters deal with that and then, like, wrapping it up. But I don't like when it is, like, a time skip or whatever, and it's just I don't know, I don't like something about that, like, the too clean wrap up, because it just, like, closes off the universe forever and sort of is like, no, we wrapped it up neatly, all is well, you know, Harry fucking Potter, that kind of thing. So I just prefer this, I guess is what I'm saying. It's just like, I like that ending. Like, I like it, like, oh, give us a nice satisfying crescendo and then have it end with a, like, and there's still more adventures to come. We don't need to, like, wrap up every single goddamn character, you know, like, we can just, like, especially for, like, a comic book based series, like, it just doesn't feel necessary to, like, end on such a conclusive note, you know.
I agree.
Yeah, that's why I think like what Batman Return of the Joker feels like, that's like a really good ending for
that,
Batman Beyond, but it's not like, it doesn't, like, all right, and then he gives up being Batman, or, like, and it's over and he has a family or anything like that.
We don't need that.
Yeah, no. It takes a lot of work for those kind of endings to work for me, and they usually don't. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad
that's a manga problem too. Like, every single fucking time a manga ends,
dude,
it's like,
mangas love that, dude.
And it's 20 years in the future, and Ichigo has a boa, you know, and, like, Naruto he has Boruto, and then
Boruto's dad had his kids.
Yeah. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, like, that's a big thing, like, with me. I think it's nice to let the adventures continue. And I will say that we didn't want to talk the last episode, and we have one other thing to talk about because we did skip it because I wanted to wait. The Captain Marvel episode of this show.
Okay.
Is it good or bad? Scientists have been debating for years.
I think the episode is more good than bad because I think in the current political climate we live in right now, the best tool for presidents that are evil is exhaustion.
Yeah.
The exhaustion of seeing a evil bill or an evil thing happen that might not happen, but you're hyper alert of it, so that when they do something actually bad, you're too tired
to care,
to deal with it. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what Lex does to Superman in this episode. He is constantly, like, making the most obvious, this is probably a trick thing to get Superman hyper vigilant and to, like, see that he's crazy. However, Superman is still wrong here, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, even if Lex is going to do something bad, right? You cannot live in a police state. You cannot police somebody and treat them as if, like, they're definitely going to do something wrong and, like, there's no options or nothing like that. And I do think there is an abuse of power that Clark does here that is wrong, you know? If Billy Batson if Captain Marvel's in the wrong for siding with Lex Luthor, that's one thing we can learn from that. You can't tell him we don't do politics. Superheroes should not be part with politicians.
Not a political show.
You know, I do agree that the Justice League should not be part of the military. I think that's a very strong thing that this show talks about constantly, and I think that's correct, right?
Yeah.
However, Clark, it's unrealistic to tell Billy he can't have affiliations with a politician.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My problem with it when oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go first.
My history of the episode was like, when I first saw it as a kid, I was really mad at how Superman was just being mean and an asshole for no reason and was clearly in the wrong and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But growing up and watching more of the context of the show, like, I get it. This comes during the storyline where Lex and Cadmus are trying to discredit Superman, trying to wear him down, make him seem like a bad guy.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he's frustrated, he's lashing out, he's not acting as Superman should. But then I also feel like that's not actually built up properly leading up to that episode. I feel like they say it a lot, but you don't really see it in action until this episode.
I agree.
So I'm always torn on this one, but I think you actually make a really, really good point with how it can relate to our modern context, actually.
Yeah,
I hadn't
because
considered that.
like exhaustion is such an important tool for fascists.
Yeah.
It is such an important tool, and I think like I can see where this episode's coming from with it, and it's interesting. I do think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting way to do Captain Marvel also.
I
Having
think Captain Marvel is handled really well in this episode.
really, really well. I think Billy Bass's handled really well. I like how naive he is, but he's not naive as in bad. He's naive as in he's just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's not stupid. He's just coming from a kid's experience with the world.
But also, he's a kid, and he does tell them at the end of this episode, there is something to be learnt from this. Y'all are not gods. We are not gods. And this show hammers that in like a fucking nail, and I love it. They are not gods. They are not infallible. These are fucking people. And the thing is, though, that also goes for the government. The government is not infallible.
Yeah.
Politicians are not infallible. The military is not infallible. A lot of times, worse, they're doing the bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite things from this show, so it's been Suicide Squad episode, and then also this one, and also in other episodes, is that the fact that the League have normal civilians that volunteer on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a
so
lot
we
of
get
lip
to see the
service.
staff.
There's a lot of lip service of you guys are the real heroes, but there's like something real about it when like you see that there is staff that like feeds the League, you know, or like goes down there to help with like rescue operations. Like there's volunteers. They're not cops. They're not firefighters. They're not this. They are people who volunteered.
Mm-hmm.
There's something so real politically. Like this show fully made me a leftist. I'm going to be fucking so real. Like
Green Arrow inspired you.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like this stuff, like about like the politics and like how like to like, hey, what are you good at? Oh, you know how to cook? The Justice League could use you volunteering. We will pay you. Like you are helping. You know, we have the people on there. The fact that these characters are named in the background. The fact that like when Lex takes over Flash body, he's about to vibrate his finger on somebody's head. They're like, Tony, don't move. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. The fact that like they took time to name some of these characters for no other purpose than going, these are people who want to make the world better.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. And I think this goes into like the episode where like the military sergeant fights all the unpowered people at the parade. And I have issues with that episode about like how she treats cops and other stuff, right? However, the fact that the cops don't save the day and protect them, but the normal people do, that go, hey, you're from the military. What's acceptable losses? How many of us are going to have to die or suffer in America before you say it's good enough for the greater good?
How many of us do you have to kill to keep us safe?
Exactly. And it's such a poignant thing to ask. Like, what's the point of being kept safe from your government if they're treating you and people around you like shit?
It's good shit.
And given how this show doesn't typically tackle like racism specifically, I do think it's very powerful they gave that line to the old black woman.
Exactly. Yes. Someone who knows what these government officials and stuff do. Like, I think also there's a lot of like black people writing and working on the show also by this.
Oh yeah, Dwayne McDuffie's the lead writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it is particular. Like, it feels less white old man, you know, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, you know, as it was like back in the day, and like it feels like it's like moved and like gotten more, like it has caught a wider net like as time goes on. You know, which is good. Like I think that's especially if like a universe of shows has been going for like 15 years or whatever at that point, then yeah, you kind of need to keep on evolving it. You can't just stay stuck in this one thing. And I feel like, you know, we talked about Paul Dini having an episode and Bruce Timm and everything, but like they're like so much less of a controlling force of what the show is than like the new team. Like Dwayne McDuffie, like we mentioned, is like way more of a consistent writer than like he's like the main writer, as
and you
opposed
feel
to
it.
them. Yeah.
Like it's so great, and like it's funny because I think even though I love Batman Beyond, right? This show will always mean more to me than Batman Beyond for the simple reason of because of how diverse the cast was behind this, like writing and stuff.
Yeah.
This show flubs political stuff way less than Batman Beyond. There are good political episodes of Batman Beyond. I'm not going to say they're not, but some of them come off as very old boomery sometimes.
The gene
Batman
splicing
Beyond.
episode.
Yes, the gene splicing episode.
With,
like I
with
think
the detransition gun.
I think truly that like if we could like Batman Beyond needs a new cartoon more than it needs anything else.
Yeah.
And I think we live in a time where like there's so many artists and creatives I can think of right now, top of my head, who would kill it.
That show,
and I think,
another Cree Summer Wyatt child crush. You know.
Yeah, Max.
So, yeah. So.
Best character in the show.
But yeah, that's I really did want to talk about like this show's community and like what it means to work hard and help people and stuff like that. And like what a good show that's deeply, deeply political constantly. Like the cloak, like the Hawk and Dove episode, everything. This show is so political, and I truly like it's lame to say a piece of media made you have your politics, right?
But you gotta
agree.
start somewhere.
But no, this show made me think about the greater like world about me. What is it like in other countries? Is America right? Is the military correct? Are they heroes? Do we need to have these weapons? Like these are things that I thought about growing up because of the show, and I don't think I would be where I am without it. And I thank you for like helping me start. And I'm glad I could be critical of some of the politics that this show has bad, and same thing with Batman Beyond. Because it started me somewhere and it brought me to a complete end. And I think when you go and like say these shows can't be political, you're kind of robbing yourself about what the show's actually the fuck about.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's a big problem with Transformers as well. Is that like they sometimes have like really good world building or things around, especially like the Autobot and Decepticon divide. I'm sorry for bringing this to Transformers, everybody, but just hear me out. But so often they'll go into this like, no, Decepticons are like, they are just bad. Like they are like, it's like an essentialist about Decepticons. I don't know. I doubt either of you have seen season 2 of Earthspark, but
I never finished season 1.
Okay, so after season 1, you know, okay, whatever you think of season 1, you know, whether it's good or bad, that was the good season. And so if you didn't like season 1, you really won't like season 2. But if you really like season 1, actually you might hate season 2 even more because it's just like not good. But like season 1 ends with like, all of the Autobots and Decepticons team up. They fight like a human villain, and like the whole season was built around like these human villains. And then the second season just begins where it's like, oh, Starscream's up to his old business. I guess we should have expected this from a Decepticon.
Oh,
and I was
of course.
like, God, I was like, isn't this show supposed to be like, aren't you wokely making this show? Isn't that like racist as fuck that you're like, oh, the Decepticon. I understand they're like more of a political faction than a race.
But they don't treat them like a political faction.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
franchise just treats Decepticon as a race most of the time.
Yeah.
So I think like I've seen a lot of like people like complain about like the leftist like idea of the end of Transformers 1, right? And I do think that like there's a failing there, like as with all Transformers stuff. I think people thinking that like Optimus Prime didn't want Megatron to kill the villain of that movie because like killing's bad even if they're fascist. I don't think that's what he was saying, and I think that reading is pissing me that reading's pissing me the fuck off. I think that like the more interesting difference between the Decepticons and the Autobots is Optimus Prime going, hey, he should pay for what he did. However, when you start a revolution off with a brutal, over-the-top execution with your bare hands like this, it's not a good go, bud.
Yeah.
He should be taken care of in a way that is satisfying for the people that he wronged. But doing it like this because you're angry, not because it's the right thing to do, but because you are personally angry, because he ruined the image of you and your own personal God, air quote, is a bad way to start this. And I think
Yeah.
that's a way more interesting political argument to have versus the Autobots and Decepticons. Because the Decepticons are selfishly revolutionary. And I think having a group that's selfishly revolutionary versus like help the society revolutionary is a perfect political thing to have going against each other.
Yeah. I think that they're like almost aligned, but just the Decepticons are just fascists. They are the might makes right, like that is their ideology. Like this pure like Megatron rules through power and fear. So it's like, that's like, yes, I agree. He should have ripped. Like it's very satisfying that he ripped Sentinel Prime in half. Do not get me wrong.
Yeah, it rules.
But like, I think it's like the least liberal. I don't know. I like a lot of people make fun of Optimus for being like an Obama type. Like I'm always giving speeches and whatever, pontificating. But like I think I was like totally okay with it in Transformers 1.
Because like he was a defeated opponent. Like that's the thing. Like go ahead.
Yeah.
You go first.
Well, I was just saying that like in Transformers Earthspark, like in the second season when you start getting like. There's like a stronger divide between the Autobots and Decepticons, and then they start to like mistrust Megatron and be like, well, he was the leader of the Decepticons. I'm like, what are we doing? I thought this story was supposed to take place after all of this was resolved, and he's part of the team, and everybody, it's like that's what's interesting about it. And now we're just like walking back this stuff. I don't know. It's just
it's
the reason it sucks, or one of the many reasons that it sucks. Is because the entire staff of the show was completely different from season 1 to season 2. Like the animation studio, the writing, the everything completely different. Hasbro just fired everybody who worked on season 1 because it was way too expensive, and then they moved on to season 2 with like a cheaper studio with like, and then hired a bunch of like. Newbie writers and animators and stuff, people that they could afford to pay as little as possible.
Yeah.
And then they made it, and it wasn't very good. And that's why, I mean, it's still technically going, but I sincerely doubt the final batch of episodes is going to make me be like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Just like to bring it back to Justice League real quick. It's
I'm sorry.
That's the thing. No, that's the thing. I think like
Transformers intermission over.
Motivation is important. Like I love the fact that like even in like the Legion of Doom, whatever the fuck they call it, right? There are so many people there who are supervillains for a variety of reasons. It's so interesting. Atomic Skull's a supervillain because he has a flaming skull and he doesn't have a lot of job opportunities. That's realistic, right?
Rules. He's my favorite like one-off mook villain.
Yeah, Polaris wants money. Lex Luthor wants control. There's this, but also if you flip it, you go to the Justice League. Hawk just wants an excuse to beat the dog shit out of people. He's not a very good leaguer. But then you have other people like this. I'm a freedom fighter. I want to help you like this. That's the thing. I think villains and heroes get more interesting when they're motivated. Like there should be there should be a political compass, which is hero or villain, right? Righteous or a psychopath. That's it. That's the chart. Because you have to. Punisher is still technically a hero. I know people don't like him. But he's also a fucking sociopath because he just wants to shoot you in the face, right?
Yeah.
But also, there are righteous villains. Captain Cold, he is a villain. That goes without saying. But also, he just kind of wants money to live comfortably. That's pretty righteous, realistically, in the world we live in, right? And I think so many people just hear evil good and they just end it there. And I'm glad this show does have that issue sometimes. But I love that everyone went, whoa, he's trying to destroy the world. What are we, insane? Of course we're going to stop him.
Coming back to what I said about Justice League, I don't think it's specifically a kid's show. I do think it's important that kids watch it. Because I do think some kids' cartoons, they teach lessons like, hey, kids, remember, sharing with your friends is good. And this one's just, like, a little more subtle with, like, abuse of power is bad. You can't necessarily trust the government just because of the government. It's not a perfect leftist text, but it teaches some good foundations, I think.
This show also humanizes the villains like a motherfucker. And not like the class like this, oh, man, he's doing a bad thing to save his kid. Not that kind of humanization. Like this is a villain of mine who we fight but also, yeah, Cersei's pretty chill. You know,
Yeah,
like,
She's
she's
like real people.
yeah, like hey,
Yes.
this is the Flash's villain. He does little tricks, and he should definitely be in prison for what he did to the crowd. But also, Flash like this, I'm not gonna just beat the shit out of him when he's sitting around. That's insane. I'm not a cop. I'm not gonna just beat this guy for doing. If he's gonna walk himself to jail, I'm not gonna just beat the dog shit out of him. Like that's what's nice. I need more of that. You know.
I think even like especially Lex Luthor like gets a ton of focus and character, and by the end, like you don't feel like he's just a two-dimensional
No.
villain, like a greedy businessman or anything like that. Like I mean, he is, but,
Yeah.
but like
He's
you
really
know,
realized though. He's
Amazing
realized.
Yeah.
how he has no sympathetic traits. He's not a complex, nuanced, sympathetic character, but you still really like him because he's just developed. He feels
Yeah.
like an authentic character.
There's nothing interesting about someone who's just pure evil unless they're there for one episode. Shout out Darkseid. Like
Oh, yeah.
literally, I don't want Darkseid as if Darkseid was the overarching villain of the show, it would suck a lot more.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Darkseid and like Mongol as well in the
Yeah, and Mongo's kind of a joke, and it shows
Well,
some
that,
issues.
well,
Like,
I was just gonna say that like I wouldn't even call him like he's just a fucking asshole. Like him showing up and being like, women, and like beating the shit out of Wonder Woman and like all that. Yeah, whereas like Darkseid is more of the like I'm just the pure evil, the Dark Lord kind of thing, and it's like and like.
You need
Whereas
that in
like
small doses.
Brainiac is like kind of the same thing, but a little bit different because he's like completely neutral morally. He's just destroying, these planets because he thinks like, oh yeah, well my programming is to consume knowledge and like become like as soon as I've consumed all this knowledge, I will be perfect.
and also they let him play off of Lex, which is a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, that's a
good stuff. Yeah, I
we
think
talked a lot about the show. Yeah,
yeah, shit. We almost, not quite, but almost made it to the same length as the Teen Titans episode.
All right, Morg, let's go over which superheroes look the best in the show. Number 1, Flash, perfect, sleek. I like the maroon touch to his costume.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, there was an episode where they had Huntress next to Black Canary, and she's like maybe 7 inches taller than Black Canary, and I got so horny I passed out. So
I think I have.
I think I have. No, but yeah, this
Christ.
is a very good episode. Shout out Rexy, dude. This ruled.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I really love being on the show whenever I get the chance, especially to talk about, like I said, maybe my favorite show of all time.
Yeah. Is there something like coming up that I guess maybe you don't know the fucking intricate air orders of Cartoon Network shows, but is there anything that comes to mind that you would be like interested in?
There's one I got that would keep this theming going.
Okay.
Oh,
Rexy, do you want to get brave and bold with us later on?
I would love to get brave and bold.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. Okay.
Listen, you ever have a show that has Batman on it, just consider Rexy. I would
Yeah.
love to
Rexy
talk
is our
about it.
resident Batman expert. You are our
I
resident
guess so.
Batman expert.
That's a show that I watched. I did watch a shit ton of that show when it was airing, so
That'd be great, because I have a lot of complicated feelings about Brave and the Bold. Mostly positive, but complicated.
Me too.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, there's a lot of shows where I'm like looking through them and I'm like, oh man. I mean, there's of course shows way later on that I'm very excited to get to, like Craig of the Creek.
Dude, we're dropping we're dropping a 3-hour bomb on that episode,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Dude, I'm talking for 3 hours about that best
Yeah.
cartoon ever created, brother.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn into Hulk Hogan, but not racist. Like, ooh, Craig and the Creek, best cartoon you ever seen.
I love
That's Macho Man.
brother!
That's
There's
Macho
some
Man.
where-
Hold on.
Yeah.
All dudes are welcome in my Postamania, brother.
There's somewhere I've never fucking seen them at all, and I'm like this, like Benicula, the
What did you just call me?
You carrot
I
sucker.
I was looking through some of the. We might have to skip Mighty Magiswords, honestly. So.
Oh no! I had to skip the cartoon that I always thought fucking
was
sucked.
fucking
No
dog
way.
I saw one frame of that cartoon and I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not even like they weren't even doing anything in it. I just saw like the characters standing around and I was like, I think they skip this one.
I can't express my opinion on that show nor its creator without my lawyer giving me the eye, so I won't say anything. Just know we won't be covering it.
Yeah. I think he. Well, actually, he's not in jail. I think he's just in like like, oh, you can't go within fucking 50 feet of a school or whatever at this point. But coming up though, there's one show that we absolutely must skip, and that's Chop Sucky Chucks. So we've talked about this multiple times where it's like, I think that this would be, there's no combination of people that we could get to talk about this.
No. Guys, watch the Pan Pizza video. Leave us alone.
Was Yin Yang Yo a Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon one?
Which one?
Yin Yang Yo.
Yin Yang, that's Disney. That's Disney.
XD,
That was Disney? Oh, geez.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was, that had like that Butch Hartman kind of art style.
Yeah, it did like Butch Hartman
like,
through it.
Around the 2000s, like, cartoons suddenly got this idea, hey, what if we did like kind of racist Asian shows? And not enough people told them not to do that.
They're like, dude, you remember how cool Orientalism is? No, no, I don't. What are you talking about?
Like Shaolin Showdown. It's so fucking weird to me that Shaolin Showdown, okay, in Shaolin Showdown, there are other Asian characters that are just normal looking.
But the main character,
then Omi, is like...
I'm wild because that show was made by an Asian woman.
I'm going to start a rumor. I'm going to start a rumor right now that everyone who listens to this is true. That it was in Tara Strong's contract that Omi looked like that. I'm starting a rumor.
I believe it. I've seen the contract.
I won't play a character unless he looks as racist as possible. You can't make me.
If he looked out of place in a 1930s political cartoon, I don't want to play him. That's what she said.
The thing is, like, there's a Japanese girl on the team, and she isn't yellow. There's the other
also
monks at the like
Chase. There's like 1,000 other Asian characters, and none of them look like that. It's just Omi. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then they're like, all right, we must get white women to play the two Asian characters, but whatever.
That's
but
just
you're
a problem
right. I
with that
remember
era in
like
general,
watching Shaolin Showdown recently, like with a friend, like rewatching it, being like, Booyah's hot, and then looking it up and being like, oh yeah, it's a Chinese woman did create the show, so like, I guess there's like some kind of like, all right, maybe she's allowed to do this, but it also just still makes me feel uncomfortable, like as my white guy, moment here of
You're really woke.
Yeah.
But no. The rumor is, I'm starting, that's not true, but it will be true in the zeitgeist, is that Tara Strong fought for it to look like that.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
she
good
threatened
thing we
to
don't
walk.
have to talk about that show because it's a WB show.
Let's go.
Yeah. But there are some WB shows that I put on here because they became Cartoon Network shows. So The Batman and Johnny Test are two that are coming up.
We do have to talk about the Batman. Rexy, you might want to be on that one because, fun fact, I liked the Batman a little bit. Rexy fucking hates it.
Yeah.
I do not hate the Batman. I just think it's the most mid-Batman show ever made.
You're mid!
Yeah. The only thing I know is that it has is the Batman versus Dracula. That's the only thing that I've seen of it.
Which is not as good a movie as that title suggests it should be.
Yeah.
Oh my god, here you fucking tolerant left can't tolerate the Batman.
And
We'll
that
argue
the
about
I
this
wish
next.
the Batman left.
And also that the Joker is black. That's the only other thing that I know.
That's a good
about.
Joker. That's a good.
That's a good Joker. I do like their Joker.
Yeah.
Kevin Michael Richardson doesn't get the chance to expand his range that much,
And that's
really
like
a shame.
2 episodes. That's 2 episodes from now, by the way. So
Rexy, though, if you want to be on the Batman, tell us, or me and White can just do it alone. Either way.
Hey, I've been down.
So Foster's Home is next. Is what we're doing.
Well, Puffy Amiyumi, then Foster's Home.
Okay, yeah, we'll do.
You forgot Puffy Amiyumi existed.
Yeah, and then the Batman, and then after that Juniper Lee.
Oh my gosh, she keeps coming back.
I know. Camp Lazlo, which I'm very excited to talk about.
We should just play your YouTube video.
Yeah, I was
in the
gonna say, I made
background
it
instead
like
of talking about it.
I made like a semi-popular video talking about Camp Lazlo because I like rewatched it, and then I also rewatched My Gym Partner's a Monkey, much worse show.
Which, if you're much worse than Camp Lazlo, oh boy.
All right, let's.
If you're the worst Cartoon Network show with a monkey in the main cast from the 2000s, oh brother.
Yeah, because Camp Lazlo I would put like definitely below Rocko's Modern Life and SpongeBob, but still pretty good. Like it's still a pretty funny show. And then My Gym Partner's a Monkey is just so fucking obnoxious.
It's annoying as shit, dude.
The characters like especially Grey Delisle playing like a spicy Latina
Oh
the
God.
parrot character constantly screaming.
What are
at
you
the top of
talking
their
about?
lungs.
Just like shut up.
Yeah. So it's just yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we're done
Rexy,
talking about
Yeah,
cartoons.
Rexy, where can we find you on the internets, Rexy?
You can find me at Skarchomp, SkarChomp, on Tumblr, Twitter, and Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I'm not on most other places, but hey, who knows what will happen in the future.
Yep. Very good posts. You always have some
Very
stupid
good
jokes
posts.
that I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
A
blushing.
lot of
Yes, I'm trying to increase my art output for this year. I wasn't satisfied with it last year, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And hey, if you see my art and you're like, that looks a little Justice League Unlimited, there you go.
There you go. Morgan,
And,
how about you?
Oh,
No, go ahead. Continue.
Well, I was gonna say I have a final bit to end on, but we can do that after you're all over.
Sure.
okay. Yeah. Hello everybody. It's Morgan and it's bit time. Woo! Anyway, you can find me at Girl Next Vor on Tumblr, on Blue Sky. However, I do want to make it clear. I have a piece of a rock that has Brainiac's consciousness in it. I'm going to reanimate it, fuse with it, and then we're going to rip apart Blue Sky for all its information.
Yeah.
So you better get on there quickly before me and Brainiac got that working. I'm mostly posting, usually art, usually vampire-related stuff, usually insanity.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see me do stuff on there. I have a fun little art project I want to kind of get off the ground at some point. Who knows when that's going to happen, because the world's real bad. But yeah, I'm trying some stuff. But Girl Next Vor on those two websites. I'm on Twitter too, but I don't use it anymore, and I'm locked because Elon Musk is ugly. Wyatt, where can we find you?
Yes, you follow Morg on those websites. You'll see why she was defending the cuck gun.
Well, you can go follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at WASPRanger, WACP Ranger. I don't really use Twitter too much anymore, but I do, I retweet stuff or whatever. And I also get into fights with, like, Nintendo fans on there, because they'll say some stupid dog shit, and then I'll be like me when I lie, and then there you go. That's that's what I do. And then on Blue Sky, it's mostly just the stream of consciousness stuff. I do want to post some more art on there. I want to get into that this year, like posting that stuff. But if you want to follow this podcast, if you're listening to it on the free feed, big thumbs up. Go. But if you want to get the next episode, which will be Hi Puffy Yummy Yummy, check that out on Patreon and donate $3, and you can get next week's episode right now.
Give them your money.
If you're already on the Patreon, thank you so much. Next week is that show. And yeah, we have I hope it's easily findable on YouTube or whatever, because I have to watch all that shit. But anyway, yeah, so there you go. We're done. We're Cartoon Buffoons. Another episode in the bag. Done talking about Justice League.
We're leaving the Buffoon Zone.
Yeah,
hey,
we talked about both
I'm the only
Justice
guy on
League
this show who
shows.
doesn't have a podcast. And let me tell you, you guys scare me. What if you decide to go marching down there, do an episode on Out of Jimmy's Head? Who could stop you? Me?
I think
I love that
we are doing Out of Jimmy's Head, by the way.
Fuck no!
I mean, we're also doing a stand-up. I feel like we only need to do one episode about CN Real in general. But Out of Jimmy's Head,
do you have to?
Yes, but Out of Jimmy's Head is its own, like, that deserves its own episode.
Okay. I fucking guess, guys. Well, listen out for that episode where I suffer again.
Where you kill yourself on
Honestly,
microphone.
listen, I survived 8 Crazy Nights. I could survive Out of Jimmy's Head. You know?
Yeah, let's look at this lineup. We got My Japarta's let me start slightly before this. Robot Boy, My Japarta's Monkey, Ben 10, Squirrel Boy, Fantastic Four, Class of 3000, which is a very good show.
What do you mean, Fantastic Four? Wait a minute.
The fucking
World's Greatest Heroes?
I swear that did not air on Cartoon Network. What the fuck?
That was based on
that aired on
the fucking...
WB or something.
No, that was on Toonami.
Dude, that show's animated really bad. I've seen it.
It doesn't look good.
This isn't the one that was on. This wasn't the one where, like, he starts rapping, where the Human Torch is rapping.
Oh, I wish it was the one where he started rapping.
This is the one based on like the
Yeah, I know the
2005.
anime one, like the shitty anime one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That one.
The one
Help
where Ben
me!
has Ford graffitied on his
me!
chest.
Yeah.
Help me! Help me!
And then after that, Chop Sucky Chooks and Out of Jimmy's Head. So, and of course,
Dude,
we're
I'm-
going to be skipping Chop Sucky Chooks. Or we could record like a 5-minute episode for that one. And
No,
then,
no,
Just
no,
be
we
like,
can't.
ew.
Yeah. Be like, it's racist. And then we just stop the episode there.
Oh, okay.
And move on. Anyway.
Thank
we're
you,
done.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much. Join us next time for a much worse show. Surely it cannot be that good.
Barely a show.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye,
Good night.
everybody.
Bye.